On April 1st, 2022, FollowYourLegend.com shared a story about a baby sea turtle named Izzy. Izzy was rescued by a group connected to the Olive Ridley Project in hopes of protecting baby sea turtles until they are fully grown. However, when the group captured Izzy, what the group found was heartbreaking. When they went to administer help to Izzy, they found 16 pieces of microplastic inside the stomach of the baby sea turtle. Due to the vast amount of microplastics that Izzy had consumed, she later passed from an infection caused by these microplastics. And stories like this aren't uncommon, as she and many other animals end up dying from the very microplastics that are so commonly found and used around our world. OurWorldInData.org reported in the 2023 plastic waste article that 2 million tons of plastic waste was being produced in 1950. However, this number has now risen to 450 million tons of plastic waste each year. Because of this, the world has been scrambling to find good and efficient ways to get rid of plastic waste. Unfortunately, one of the most common ways to get rid of plastic waste has been incineration. While incineration sounds good on paper because it reduces all plastics into a small airborne product, it comes with profound effects on the world and animals around it. Incineration mainly affects people, animals, and the ozone layer. One of the main problems that incineration has on people is that it can cause cancer, respiratory issues, and even neurological disorders. This is why incineration is one of the most frowned upon but most commonly used forms of getting rid of plastics. Today, I will be telling you about a plastic-eating enzyme that can get rid of billions of tons of plastic waste. First, I will tell you about the negative effects that come from plastics. Then, I'll be telling you the background on this enzyme that can eat plastics and get rid of them. And finally, I'll be telling you about the positive effects that come from a plastic-eating enzyme and how to incorporate it into the real world. Let me start by stating the negative effects that come from plastics. One of the main problems that come from plastics is the long life cycle that starts from plastics. In order for plastics to be created, they use fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are bad for the environment because it releases gases into the air, which helps destroy the ozone layer, and it can also infect people and animals, as stated before. Because of this long life cycle needs to be abolished, and one of the main reasons for this is because, once again, from CO.org, reported in February 19th, 2019, it states that the plastic life cycle can cause cancer, neurological disorders, and diabetes in people. Additionally, one of the main problems that comes with plastics is how difficult it is for it to be broken down. Once plastics is in the environment, there are very limited things that can break down plastics, and if it goes through its full life cycle, it can take hundreds of years for the plastics to be broken down naturally. Now that I've told you about the harmful effects that come from plastics, let me tell you about the plastic-eating enzyme that has been created that can get rid of all of these problems about plastics. UT News reported on April 27th, 2022, that they have created a plastic-eating enzyme that can break down plastics at a temperature as low as negative 50 degrees Celsius. And it can also break down plastics in less than 24 hours. Additionally, the reason enzymes would be so good to use and why it is such an important found that UT News had to report it is because it uses 65% less energy to get rid of plastics. Now that I've told you the background on this enzyme, let me tell you about the positive effects that can come from this enzyme and how to incorporate it in the real world. PMC.gov published on September 19th, 2023, stated that plastic-eating enzymes have actually been created for the past 40 years. Because of the advancements that have been created from the plastic-eating enzymes, these enzymes can now be placed anywhere, almost anywhere around the world to help fight plastics that are found in all of waste. Additionally, plastic-eating enzymes can be incorporated in recycling facilities and can actually even replace some recycling facilities. However, if the plastic-eating enzyme doesn't replace recycling facilities, it can also be incorporated into these facilities to help lower energy costs. Additionally, one of the main aspects that makes this plastic-eating enzyme so important is that it can actually be imported into water to help get rid of these plastics without having to go through machinery. And finally, one of the main reasons why this plastic-eating enzyme is so important is that this enzyme can be placed directly at the source of plastic waste, such as the giant plastic island that is found floating around our oceans. Now that I've told you about the negative effects that come from plastics, then I told you about the background of the plastic-eating enzyme and what it does, and finally, I told you about the plastic-eating enzyme and how it can be incorporated and help change the world. I hope that you have learned a lot about the plastic-eating enzymes that have been created that can help get rid of plastic waste around the world, and help the story such as Izzy's can help you realize how important it is to have an enzyme that can get rid of plastics. Please share your thoughts on the plastic-eating enzyme, as it can help 97% of the plastics that are being created in this world and get rid of them. Thank you.